This is Darius Arya for Digging History, exploring our global cultural heritage. Today, we're going to do the Pantheon. The Pantheon, the most important, impressive structure ever built by the Romans in the entire ancient world, one of the most important architectural structures known to man. What sets it apart? Well, number one is its function. It is a unique kind of structure in the city of Rome. Pantheon implies a temple to all the gods. But that's not the usual thing. You don't have a temple filled with cult statues of many gods. You have one cult statue in the cella for each temple. So already by the name itself, it is a unique structure. And the builder, Agrippa, seems to have intended it to focus the Romans on the worship of the ruler. And inside that temple, we know there was a statue of Venus, of Mars, of Julius Caesar, the divine Julius Caesar. And ultimately, Agrippa intended with this structure, built between 27 and 25 BC, to have a statue of Augustus himself. But Augustus refused this honor. And in the porch, in the original structure, there was a statue of Agrippa and a statue of Augustus. And still the tradition continued through the imperial period for many buildings. So the first structure that's built on the site in the Campus Martius, known as the Pantheon, is constructed by Agrippa in honor of Augustus, completed around 25 BC. Then there's a fire in AD 80, and the response is to rebuild the Campus Martius that was destroyed, including the Pantheon. And that was done by Domitian, the emperor who died in 96 AD. Then again, another fire strikes the Campus Martius, and there's another rebuilding. That fire took place in 110 AD, when the Emperor Trajan reigned. Now we know that the construction is completed by the Emperor Hadrian, Trajan's successor. But most recently, through a reevaluation of the brick stamps, scholars have recently redated the structure and recognized it as a structure initiated by the Emperor Trajan, completed by the Emperor Hadrian. This is the famous Pantheon that we can see today in the Piazza della Rotonda. What makes the structure so unique is its poured concrete dome. But you didn't see that initially. What you saw when you came to the piazza is kind of like today, a big open space, and you'd look out across and you'd see the facade. It looked like your normal temple. 8 columns across the front meant it was a very large temple, and the piazza itself was surrounded by a colonnade. There was a portico that you came through. And if you went inside the temple, up the stairs, which are now hidden and buried away, you'd go inside the porch and then into the cella, you encountered something truly wondrous. And what you encountered was a domed space. And the interior is, like it was in antiquity, it is today, 150 Roman feet across and 150 Roman feet high. You could fit a perfect sphere inside this space. The architecture was incredible and remains incredible today. What's missing? Well, when you look inside of it, you do have the floor that's more or less real and accurate and authentic, but all the marble on the interior and most of the marble on the exterior has been stripped away. There's been redecoration in the Christian period, and that's the kind of experience that you have today. You have a redecorated Christian space that has become a church as of 608 AD. But before then, the entire interior was pretty much stripped away. When you come inside the cella, what really catches your attention immediately is the oculus. And this is 8 meters across, and light is streaming through it. And there's no glass on top. The oculus is a light source as well as the door. But what really catches your attention is when the light streams through it, and the light coming through the oculus is projected on the walls or a part of the coffered ceiling or the floor. I mean, it's just spectacular. And one of the reasons that they have is because the architecture develops in building such domed structures for palaces and bath complexes, even centuries before, but also because the reduction of hoop tension is a fundamental factor in ensuring that the dome will not collapse. So you have a lot of tension and thrust coming down, and the creation of a dome and having an opening at the top reduces that that tension. And it's very important to understand this. That's one of the reasons why the Pantheon still stands. The dome has not collapsed. When you look at the coffered ceiling, it is very, very impressive. You have these trapezoidal shapes, lines that are tilted in so that wherever you're walking through in the center of the cella, you can have your eyes immediately drawn up to the oculus. And so with the coffered roofing ceiling system, the stucco is modern. But when the stucco comes off, and it's happened on a number of occasions, they've found that there are dowel rod holes in those coffers. For what? For appliques, for stucco work, maybe even for bronze decoration. And it's all been stripped away. Same thing goes for the exterior of the dome. You have today lead tiles dating back in some sections to the 8th century AD. But we know in the 7th that the gilded bronze tiles were stripped away. So some of the best, most ornate decorative features of the Pantheon have disappeared, stripped away to be recycled in another life in the Christian age. What did the original structures look like? What did the Pantheon of Domitian or the Pantheon of Agrippa look like? We don't know. From recent excavations, we know that there was always a front porch and there always was a rotunda-like space. Now, was that rotunda space vaulted over? Could it be what we call an hypaethral temple, which just means there are colonnades, but there's no roofing system? Was it in wood? I mean, we have a lot of conjecture, we have a lot of ideas, we have no evidence. But what we do know is that the original version of Agrippa and that of Domitian faced north to the mausoleum of Augustus, just as the Pantheon of Trajan and Hadrian faces due north.